Dear all, welcome to lecture 3. In this lecture, we will talk about how to create charts and graphs in SPSS. Charts and graphs are visuals that show the relationship between datasets, data or variables. It displays the data in a way that is easy to understand and remember. And of course, to do it, to move on the analysis, to move on to create graphs and charts, we need the dataset, and the dataset that we will use in this video will be among one of the sample data files that was installed with the product with the SPSS. The files can be found in the sample subdirectory of the installation directory. Let's find it right now. You need to first click the yellow folder and find C drive. That is the place where you downloaded, you installed SPSS, and in my computer under C drive in the program files, you will see IBM, SPSS, statistics, 20, version 20, that I was used in my computer, samples and English, and you will see many data files that was installed with your product to your computer. And in this lecture, we will use test scores.show datasets. Let's open it first. So now you have a dataset, and in this dataset you will find the variables are the variables are school settings, school type, classroom, teaching method, number of students, pretest, posttest. You have so you have nominal, ordinal, and scale variables in your datasets. So let's begin to show how to create graphs and charts. Normally, there are three options that you can create charts and graphs in SPSS. The first and easiest is in the analysis menu in descriptive frequencies. When you click on frequency, you will see charts menu at the right side. By using this chart menu, you can create your graphs. So let's just select one of them, pretest for example, and for pretest scores, along with the frequency table, you can also create bar chart, pie chart, or histogram. Since it's a continuous variable, it's a scale variable, let's select histogram, and if you want, you can show normal curve on the histogram. Let's select it by clicking continue and OK. At the end, you will see a frequency table and later the histogram with the mean, standard deviation, and number of participants. So this is the first way that you can create graphs. And in the second way, you may use the tab menu, graphs menu, by clicking on graphs and then chart builder. You can create your graphs. And the third option is by just selecting legacy dialogs and later selecting the type of graph that you want to produce, you can create your graphs. But first, we can say that mainly there are four most common charts, and these charts are probably line, bar, pie chart, and histogram. When we think on bar chart, for example, bar chart, if you have clusters, if you have groups, categorical variables, and for example, gender or school type, you can create simple bar charts, cluster bar charts for this. And the second one is, for example, histogram. Histogram is similar to, it looks like very much similar to bar chart, but there are important differences between histogram and bar chart. Histogram is appropriate representation of the distribution of numerical data, and it displays the shape and half spread of the continuous data. So continuity and numerical variables are important for histogram. Especially, you may want to see the shape of data's distribution, and especially while determining whether the data is distributed normally or not, normal or skewed. This time you can use histogram options to see how the data spread out. So the third one is line chart. In line chart, as it comes from the name, you'll create lines, and also known as line graph. It is commonly used to visualize the value of something over time, and it displays information as a series of data points connected by straight line segments. And the fourth one is an alternative to bar chart. It's a pie chart. You can, if you have categorical variables or ordinal type of variables, you can use pie charts. But if the number of bar charts, if the number of groups are high, this time bar chart, especially pie chart, will be like a flower. There will be many colors, so it will not make sense for the readers. So if you have a few groups in your data set, you may use pie chart. If you have 4 or 5 different groups, you can prefer to you may prefer to use bar chart. It depends on your decision. Okay, let's start with using graphs chart builder case. Okay, I will just click OK. This is the visual representation of pop-up menu for chart builder, and we will create bar chart, simple bar chart for now. Let's select the first one, simple bar chart menu. You can just drag it to the gallery, to the preview case, and you will see a pop-up menu with element properties. And by just dragging the variables, the related variables on this preview menu, you will see the chart that you will see in this part will change automatically, and it will give some idea of how it looks like. So for example, let's select number of students as a variable in the y-axis, and just select school type, for example, for the x-axis. So you have two groups in school type, public, non-public, and SPSS automatically get the mean of number of students in these groups. So your graph will looks like this one, but element properties is very helpful for us, since it enables you to change some characteristics. For example, mean. For example, SPSS as a default automatically assume that you are calculating the mean of the students in these two groups, but you can just change it with median, mode, group median, minimum, maximum values, whatever you want to change. So element properties are important for us. Also you can change the bar style, for example. If you want to add a title to your graph, you can just highlight titles and footnotes, and by selecting title 1, you can write the title of it, number of students, or just write students according to school type. So when you click apply, you'll see a title at the top in your menu. When you create it, you will see the title of the graph. So let me change. What else I can say? Okay, when you click OK, if you click paste, you will create the syntax for this one. But when you click OK, this time you will see a simple bar chart according to school type. But sometimes you like to create clustered charts rather than simple charts. Let's click on reset to erase everything. This time to create clustered charts, which means the charts that display more than one data series in a clustered columns, we should select the clustered bar charts, which is the second one in the gallery according to the bar charts. Also, you can change the type of charts by just clicking on the names that you will see. So I drag it to the gallery preview pane. So clustered charts become visually complex as the number of categories increase. And one remember, if you use clustered charts, avoiding with three-dimensional, just this ones, with three-dimensional visual representations will be good for you. What it means? So in cluster chart, for example, according to school type, so I select it to the cluster sets. I will create. So according to school setting, which means public or private, I will create three different clusters of bars based on school type. So again, let's select number of students to the count part and just close it. So you can also add title for this one, but for this part, since for the first one you will see the title here. So by clicking OK, this time you will see according to school type category, which is public, categorized as public and non-public. You'll see how many the average number of students in the classrooms in public urban schools and non-public urban schools. And for rural areas, you will see public and non-public number of students in the classes in public and non-public institutions. So this is the name of the clustered charts, and you can also use this one. So let's do one more. Let's produce one more graph with legacy look this time. But this time, let's select line chart. Okay. So I select line chart. I would like to create simple line chart or multiple line chart. So just define as simple line chart. This time you will see a simple pop-up window. The lines automatically represents number of cases for each category, and if you want, you can also change based on the numbers. So this time I will select other statistics, which means which I would like to select the mean number of students in each classroom. So I will select number of students for the variable. And again, you can change the statistics, mean, median, mode, minimum, maximum values. Later, let's do the same thing for school type. Category as the x-axis. Since, as I said, it shows you mostly line chart is used to visualize the change in the value of something over time. It will be a better option to create a chart with according to according to time segments. It will be a better way, but this time we will only we will just create a line chart. So clicking OK, this time you will see the number of students based on public and non-public. It was around 24 for public schools and nearly 19 for non-public schools. Also, you can change when you double click on it, when you double click on the figure on the chart that you had created, you will make manipulations on it. For example, if you double clicked on the numbers, and you will see that the measure increment is 2, which means the numbers increase 2 by 2. So you can change it to 1, and minimum number might also be 0, for example, and maximum is 25. So when you click apply, you will see that you change the figures. You can preview it on the line. So let's change it to 18, for example. So we change the names also. So when you close it, you will see the new format of your chart on the output window of SPSS. And lastly, I will show one more graph to you. It is related with the correlation, and if you go to correlation, you can also create, no, you couldn't create, sorry for this. But in the legacy dialog, you will see a scatter plot. That means it will show how data points will spread out and how it looks like, how each data point is going to be in a scattered versions. I will select the simple scatter. So, for example, let's select this time, since I said that it is related with the correlation and regression. Let's select x-axis as a pretest scores and y-axis as the post-test scores, and imagine that I am curious on the correlation between pretest and post-test scores of individuals who take the exam. So when I clicked OK, this time you will see that how each data points will spread out in the graphic, in a scatter plot. So again, you can also edit, you can also manipulate the figure by just double clicking on it, and on the figure that was represented, you can select which part would you like to change. You can also change the names, for example, exam first, or let's write it midterm exam. And for the post test, sorry, let's write it final exam. Or, for example, when you right click on the graph, you'll see that you will see some options on this part. For example, you may want to see grid lines, or you can increase or decrease the increments of the grid lines. And also, when you click on it again, not this one, hide grid lines, hide right. For example, if you clicked on again on the top menu at the fit line at total, you can see the fit line for the distribution, and also in the line you will see that the R-square formula calculation about the correlation value correlation coefficients. So there are many options that you can work on it. You can also erase it, just clicking on it again. Sorry. Or just delete it. Again, delete. Okay, you can edit your graphs based on the options that you will see. So these are all the things that we can talk about how to create graphs on SPSS. Thank you very much. See you in the next lecture.